3 and 4 on the battlefield, she's just hiding behind that pot forever, and you're just gonna get seasoned to death because she throws food seasonings at you because she's a cannibal and she wants to eat you.
I can kind of figure it out with the giant cauldron.
My one dude who could hit space 3 or 4, and from then on, she just threw seasonings at me until I died. And I was like, fuck this game. That was the first time I quit Darkest Dungeon 1. But that's not the last.
That's the first time I've ever seen somebody get hit with the Zatarans.
Yeah, she just threw Zatarans at me, and I just eventually died. And it did chip damage. It was like 2 or 3 damage.
Yeah, man, it's just a fucking dry rub. It's not going to do nothing to you. It's just what you eat. Welcome back to episode 16. Appreciate you guys for coming along. Like, the subs are up. We appreciate you guys, and just keep it going. We got a good episode ready for you today. So we'll go right into the right out of pocket with the Rassy Ryan and the Blissful Breezy. So let's see what our
who's our gaslighter for today.
My out of pocket for unplugging the internet when my boyfriend was playing a game.
Yes. Continue.
All right, let's get into it. Okay. Stories from girlfriend's point of view. I had cooked dinner for my boyfriend. I had called him several times. He didn't respond, so I was like, what the hell? Went to go find him and bring his dinner to him. He was playing Call of Duty or Halo, so he didn't hear me. I was like, all right, here's your dinner, and I handed it to him and just looked at it. And he just looked at it and said I didn't want mac and cheese, and I said chicken nuggets and fries. I said, sorry, but if you had listened to me when I got back, I told you that the store ran out of nuggets. He then threw his plate with the food and with the food on it at the set of drawers in the room. I said, seriously, what is wrong with you? And he just said he was annoyed because I made him die in the game by distracting him, and he was already mad about having mac and cheese. And I said, if you're going to be angry about it, you shouldn't be playing about eating. Fair enough. He just said whatever and carried on playing, so I went downstairs and turned the router off while I ate. He came storming downstairs asking what the hell I'd done, and I said, if you can't listen to me, you shouldn't be playing games. And if I'm trying to do stuff, he said, I can't turn the internet off because he pays for it. So I said he just wasted food. He says I should have told him that we were out of nuggets and waited for him to be done on the game instead of turning it off. I think he was being unreasonable, especially after he threw the plate. But my mom and his mom are siding with him.
You gotta stop.
They say I shouldn't have turned the internet off, and I am thinking they're completely missing the point. So was I wrong for that? That's something different.
Yeah, I don't know if we could do out of pocket for 12-year-olds. I think they gotta at least be 18.
22 or 23.
Dude, no way.
22 females.
No way. We're talking about chicken nuggets, bro.
Oh, I'm thinking the same thing.
Dude, the reason I read this one, because it amused me so much, is because Emma just started eating chicken nuggets, so I just been eating a lot of chicken nuggets, and it was just so amusing.
And just 12-year-old rage, get this crap out of here.
I asked for chicken nuggets. Okay. Now, my earlier statement after Mark read the title of the story is technically not wrong. You should not be cutting the internet off after that story. You should be cutting him off.
Yeah, 100%. You don't know what he gonna do.
Right?
He gonna match your Facebook.
That man baby is a red flag attached to a short fuse with a hand grenade and a ticking time bomb.
Facts.
All right.
Facts. Yeah.
Don't walk, run out of that house and relationship.
Yeah, because as I was reading it, I thought she was going to say that he whooped her ass at the end of it. Because that's kind of the hierarchy was going on there.
That's the 50th, throw the plate at the wall.
That's what I was saying. He just come back here to
clean it up.
Wow. Shit, man, where's the cheap liquor newspaper, bro?
In the
let me get my slippers.
Oh man.
All right, so yeah, out of pocket.
Just
get that boyfriend out, man.
Yeah, it was kind of out of pocket from start to finish. I mean, the thing that kind of warped me the most though is that both their moms were on his side.
Cause
are you sure? This wasn't some weird. Was it the word for anachronistic time travel story where you got like a 1950s husband who's playing Call of Duty and some chicken nuggies. It's like some weird time warp mix of two fucked up man babies of the time.
When she says that the mom's sided with him, like if his mom sided with him on that his mom's been dealing with him doing that forever, and it's not a problem to her.
I think we're being pranked here.
None of this makes sense.
The way OP reacted or failed to react to this is like, feels like a fake story.
I see where you're coming from, but like, I can see it as a point of like, I just cooked something and you threw it against the wall. I'm just going to leave because I'm so mad. I'm going to leave before you know, those situations where you're so mad, you just got to leave. Like nothing else makes sense except just removing yourself from the room. And like, that's kind of how I felt there. It's like, I just made you this food. Like cause my thing is, all right, so the way it sounds, she got home from grocery shopping. She called to him and told him like, hey, you know, this is what we got to eat or whatever. No response. Cause she had gone up there to ask, yeah, but she was probably annoyed with something that happened at the grocery store. She makes dinner. She goes over to give him his dinner. He throws it at the wall and she just like, fuck this. Walks out the room, goes to eat her dinner. Probably the way it sounds, the router is like in the room. So she just probably just boop.
Yeah.
Continue eating her dinner and called it a day. Yeah. Is it right? No.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like
too light.
It's a funny story until something bad happens.
So that shit shows up on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, yeah, the trajectory my man's is going on.
Yeah.
He about to do something crazy.
Yeah.
Because
I described it perfectly. All those different explosive adjectives he used.
Because I mean, he literally just threw a plate of mac and cheese. And mac and cheese is like the worst thing to throw.
Yeah. Yeah. When you throw a plate, bro, that's like extreme behavior. That's almost like spitting at somebody. It's not quite as extreme.
But yeah.
But that just rage, like that's visceral. Like if somebody, like when we were just here, somebody just threw a plate at the wall, that would piss everybody off.
Because this is
like, what are you doing?
Because I feel like one of those things you learn at a young age is like, don't waste food unless you're like in a very specific tax bracket. Like you learn very early, like don't waste food. And like, just don't throw shit. That's like some of the first things you know when you like you learn your kids. So like, I feel like that's why like when you throw a plate of food, it just has two like historically bad things together.
Yeah.
That everyone like universally for the most part is taught like not to do. And then you see a motherfucker throw a plate at the wall. You're like, cause it's never a reason. You never have a good reason to throw a plate at the wall.
No, before you, like after you throw a plate at the wall, typically you fight. Like, typically you fight somebody, it's a family member. A family member just pissed you off, you threw a plate at the wall, y'all scrapping. You and auntie scrapping.
I mean, I'm gonna say this. If someone throws a plate at the wall in my house, I'm whooping their ass. I don't care who it was. Like, whoever you got the beef with, you throw a plate of food in my house, I'm whooping your ass. You gotta deal with me before whoever you was mad at, you ain't gotta worry about them. You gotta worry about me first. Because not only is it disrespectful to whoever the fuck it is, whoever made that food disrespectful, whoever house that shit is in, that's disrespectful. And it's like, nah.
Yeah, what is this story? None of this makes sense. Because I can't even really properly visualize it. Like him just playing games, her bringing her food.
I said chicken nuggets!
I mean, y'all saw the video of that kid to completely destroy his house after his mom took his Xbox, right?
His mom.
This was years ago. It was a 360.
Dang, this is a little unfortunate. I just watched this video about a kid who killed his parents when they took away his Halo 2. But,
same vein. Like the dude, like literally went downstairs. Like he took the family dinner table, like flipped it over and just started breaking shit because his mom took his Xbox. I mean, this kid sounds like he had that same lap of luxury where he was never got told, like,
maybe this is the sequel.
Could be. I mean, because, he's 23, right? So, I mean, like, if you've been coddled your whole life at 23, I mean, it sounds like something that a 12-year-old would do, but if you've been coddled, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. That's a video game, though. Come on, bro.
I mean, yeah, no excuse, man. You like getting mad because someone turned off the router is fine, but you were the aggressor way before that, bro.
Way before that, bro. Yeah. Like you walked right into that.
He's several layers out of pocket. The first one was just the whole the whole setup, like the whole, you're not feeding me what I wanted to be fed, sort of thing. Like the entitlement of that.
Chicken nuggets are serious.
Chicken nuggets and fries, bro.
Yeah.
That's a
chicken nuggets.
Important food group.
Nuggies and tendies, bro. Gotta have tendies.
But you can't. But no mac and cheese. Apparently, I mean,
he could have had all of them, but no, he was like none of them, and he lost some Call of Duty too. That guy is trash, just every way.
And he ain't got no internet because she turned that shit off.
Yeah, and hopefully they made his ass clean that shit up.
From the way they until he do.
Nah, I doubt it. She for sure cleaned that shit up.
Damn.
Yeah.
Or what his mom did.
I mean, because that's the situation where somebody's throwing stuff. That's the situation that make you take a pause.
You should, but the OP was like so calm about it that I don't feel like it's a real story.
I think
I just feel like
either it's not a real story or he does it all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's so normal that she just kind of like, whatever. I mean, either way, she should remove herself from this situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's already throwing shit. That's going to lead to punching.
Yeah. And you shouldn't be used to stuff like that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Because that's terrible.
That's a wild story, man. I wasn't expecting none of that.
I wasn't expecting either. It was just so childish because I was like,
I mean, it just sound like 2 12-year-olds. You mentioned the parents. I was like, what is this?
Why are their parents? Parents, you need to tell your kids when they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like when they throwing plates at the wall, they're wrong. No matter what reason it was, you shouldn't have threw the damn plate at the wall. That's it.
Man.
Nothing else.
I hope he's like a champion tier gamer because all that noise for like just playing some. And we're gamers here. I sound like I'm a 40-year-old, coot or whatever. But it's just game, bro. Like what's
you
going
took an
on?
L call a day, bro. Like it's Call of Duty. Like you gonna come back to life. Like it's not like you playing a roguelike or something like you dying actually matters. It's like, bro.
You do the same thing every day. I'm sure.
I'm sure this one death means so much to you.
My KD though, bro. My
KD is terrible, bro. Get good, bro. Yeah. So, what's the last game that made you guys that pissed? Just like uncontrollably mad for whatever amount of time.
Man. Honestly, I play so few games. The games I do play, I play for a long time, but I play so few of them. Answers I always give are gonna be really, really generic. I killed Millennia like a month ago.
Fair enough.
I'm still riding high on that. But oh my god. She was so trash. I hate that thing so much.
I actually watched a video talk about like all the things she does have, and I was like, it was a YouTube short, right? So it was like only like a minute. But the fact that like he said a thing like it was like 10 things he said, and I'm like, nah.
I watched a 17-minute long video on every way that Millennia cheats in the game, just completely does shit that throughout the 100 hours before you had gotten to her, you had been taught this is how the game works. And then she just goes like, yeah, here's all my special shit. I don't poise break. I don't hyper armor break. I have this and that, and I can just go through all your shit. I can cancel out of my own stagger animation. What the hell does that even mean, bro?
So she just can't.
Yeah,
you know how overpowered you have to be to cancel your own stagger.
But it's super inconsistent because that's like the best way to defeat her. Apparently, is just to stagger to death. But occasionally she can just pop out of it.
Because imagine that in real life, right? You just punch someone and they just fall back, and then immediately afterward they're just right in your face again. It's like, like what type of anime are we living in? You can just do that.
All right, I'm sorry I had to bring up Millennia again. I feel guilty and generic. Breezy, do you have an answer?
No, that's a fair answer.
Save me.
No, that's a fair answer. You did eventually beat her. So you beat her without I didn't get to see you do the final blow, but I believe you beat her without summons.
Oh, that's bullshit. The first time I summoned, I did not beat her without summons.
Oh, okay.
After I watched that 17-minute video, I was so pissed because I was like, I was like, I knew that something was wrong with this fight. I just didn't know what it was. And apparently what it was that there was 17 minutes worth of things wrong with that fight. Not just one. And I went in there pissed. And I just summoned a Mimic Tear. And I took my big ass great sword. And I started to just like flip around in a circle and smash down. And my shadow clone started to flip around, circle, smash down. We were like fucking hammer broing on her. And the first time I used that damn summon, she just fucking died like that.
Yep.
And I was just like, you weren't supposed to die from that.
Yeah. Apparently that's what they're saying, is that the game is specifically made for summons.
Like,
the game is built for you to just have a buddy?
Oh, but the AI isn't really optimized for it. Like the bosses, because they're always going to attack the last thing that attacked them. They're not smart about it. Yeah. So it's either your experience with a lot of bosses are like, they're either like way too easy or like way too hard in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. That's an interesting gameplay developed idea. I don't know what the hell to call it.
It is interesting for sure.
I fought every other boss without summons, except for Radahn. I didn't feel like fighting Radahn without summons. He's a special boss. Yeah. You fight him on a. Have you ever seen that fight?
Yeah, I love the idea of that fight.
I just didn't feel like running all the way to him every time. Mm-hmm. I was like, this just takes too long. So I was just like, boys, get him.
Thematically, it makes sense to use him in that fight, though. Because not only are they there, but that's kind of the whole point, right? Because it's like the whole festival.
Just kill him.
Yeah.
They just want to kill him.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I can't think of a game that super pissed me off. Like, it's a lot of games that frustrate me when I play them. None of them like super pissed
Nothing
me off.
Just really razzed your berries?
Not in a long while. Like, kind of playing a little bit of Elden Ring and watching him play it. Some stuff in there pissed me off. Some stuff I watched him do a lot of RE4. Some stuff in there pissed me
remake?
off. Yeah, the remake. Did some inconsistent stuff. Like, I don't feel like it's horrible, but they like changed like the way the enemies flinch in RE4.
Oh yeah, they changed it a lot.
It's just like super inconsistent compared to the original game, which like it makes a lot of it feel like RNG, and that grinds my gears.
True. I don't feel too bad about that now. Okay. I always felt in the original RE4, you were just able to game the system a little bit too hard. And anyone who played the original RE4 knows that, you know, when
high frames.
You know where to be.
And them not just flinching from any particular tap that you do on them made it so that you had to actually react to whether or not your shot flinched them or not. And it made the game more exciting than I expected it to be. Now,
that's fair.
You're a shitty marksman, though. Leon in the remake is a pretty shitty marksman. So I was using the Red 9, which sure as hell was not a marksman's gun. So if I had been using a marksman pistol, I think it would have been even easier. Maybe I actually would have been, you know, flinching them like I did in the original RE4. But in this one, nah.
That's a good little tidbit to know, though.
Yeah, I can't think of. Darksiders 3 pissed me off for like a lot of reasons. When I initially played it, anyway, the second playthrough, a lot more. But like the game just was. It was like all the worst parts of Dark Souls, but none of the best parts of Dark Souls.
Did you play it through on a traditional way the second time playthrough? Or was that not yet?
Oh, yeah. No, I only played
the original way, what it was?
What they call it? They separated it by default, and the other one's classic.
Classic, okay.
Classic.
Yeah.
So classic's a lot better because you can do cancels in a lot of your animations. With the default mode, you can't cancel. Because it's supposed to be Dark Souls, so you gotta commit to an action when you take it. But only thing is like your only method of defense is a dodge. Your only method of attack they put more weapons in it, but it's still not as many weapons as Dark Souls. So you're super duper limited, and the enemies kind of force you to dodge. So you only have a set action to optimally play the game.
I actually hated the game until I realized that. Once I realized that you have to like dodge first and then go into a combo, I mean, I still don't know how I feel about the game overall, but like, I definitely understand how the game works. So I was able to like beat it and actually have fun with it. But cause like, I try to go in like any other action game, just super aggressive. And like, you can't be aggressive unless you've dodged first.
Yeah, this one guy figured out how to play it aggressively, but it takes like every new thing that they added in the DLC to do so. It's like this weapon switching system. They got like, it's like a total of 8 weapons now compared to like 4. So you got to kind of use everything to make it play like Devil May Cry. But he did it. But he's like super technical. So you can do it, but the game never... Most people don't play it like that. 99% of people would not play it like that.
Because you can't really do it. I mean, because like I played OG. I got to get any of the DLC from it because the game kind of like just left a sour taste in my mouth in general. So... I mean, I don't feel like I'm alone in that aspect though. Like I feel there's a lot of people like in that boat where like, you know, it was cool. I'm good on it. Call it a day.
Yeah, it was fun. It probably did the exploration stuff. It was pretty good with the exploration stuff, I would say, because her like platforming stuff was really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. The only thing might be for her exploration stuff is they went too hard into the Dark Souls stuff. So like there are just enemies that shouldn't be with other enemies in certain places to explore. Because I mean, like I that helped me, and God of War helped me realize that like that's kind of like Dark Souls thing. It's like the enemies not necessarily like hard to kill. It's just they give you these fucking combinations of things, and it's like if you take out one and take out the other, it'll be fine. But it's
God of War, bro. You talking about those witches?
Anything with a witch.
God of War.
Anything with a witch, and like it was something similar to, and it's any aerial enemy in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
Oh crap! The freaking aerial enemies in Elden Ring. You fight them so early too. Those damn birds,
bro. Oh, the one with the knife feet?
The knife feet. Yes.
Dog, they're called like Hellhawks or something? Stormhawks.
They just kill everybody.
Bro, like, I've had it. Breezy, no, I had this beef since I was like 14. Like, flying enemies in action games are always a no-no. Because you never have the proper, you don't have what you necessarily need to deal with it. You never do.
And
never.
Worse in Elden Ring, because they like have the same like AI and animations as like the dogs. The dogs have been legendarily bad in Dark Souls.
Dog, because they have like the purest form of ADD. Like they literally just jump places.
Yeah, the birds are just like here, there, everywhere. Like you're trying to smack it's already behind you.
Yeah, man.
So I watched the video and it was talking about how the dude was so pissed. Like he went on a rant because he was like, the stork, it shouldn't be able to pick up a barrel, explosive barrel, and throw it at you. It has knife feet. It has fucking knife feet. Why can't you throw this barrel?
Bro, man.
He lost it.
Yo, man, those friggin' I don't even adductors. I don't know what the
bird
muscles are called, bro. But you know, I think Mark's gonna be pretty happy about this. A game that truly, absolutely pissed me off when I first started playing it so much was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Dude, okay. Me and Mark have a history with Breath of the Wild. All right, I love it. He hates it.
Facts.
But with here's the thing about Breath of the Wild. We agree on the weaknesses of the game. Well, some of the weaknesses we agree on. The whole weapon breaking thing.
Trash.
Hated it. The way that you get all your abilities at the very beginning of the game.
Also trash.
I didn't like that in Breath of the Wild. I really disliked it. I like the classic Zeldas where you earn those things over the course of an adventure. Tears of the Kingdom is about to come out. And, well, it's been out for weeks now, but Tears of the Kingdom was about to come out. And Mark and I were having some kind of conversation about it. And I was going like, you know, Mark, it's been like 7 years since Breath of the Wild came out. Ooh. And they know that everyone disliked that weapon breaking system. Surely they will have changed it. And Mark was like,
nah.
No. They're not going to change shit because they don't need to change shit to get dumbasses to buy it. And I was like, Mark, you're wrong. Mark was like, Ryan, you're wrong. And it came out and I
was right.
I was so wrong.
100% right.
I wasn't just wrong. I was completely, absolutely wrong about everything. They changed nothing in Tears of the Kingdom. They did not fix any of the issues that we had with it. You still get all your abilities at the beginning of the game. Weapons still break if you look at them funny. All of that. And when I first started playing Tears of the Kingdom, I was absolutely livid. Not just because they almost spitefully didn't change anything, because I had to go face Mark with that knowledge.
And I already knew before I ever saw it.
But after like 2 hours of playing Tears of the Kingdom, which was really just like Breath of the Wild 1.5 at that time, when I finally got off of the Sky Island and into the game proper, the game was amazing. Still is amazing. They actually, I feel, fixed the problem with you getting all your abilities at the beginning of the game. Now, those abilities don't do everything until you get more parts for them.
The fucking final boss.
Oh, shit, so bad.
Because I watched you, I had the luxury of watching you stream that live.
Oh, you saw that?
And watching the video. Oh, yeah. Just watching you go like, what the fuck is, what the
Oh my god.
I gotta look.
You should definitely link that video. You should link that video in this, because that is hilarious.
Yeah.
I remember watching you get sniped by shotguns while playing the Max Payne.
Oh god.
But you were playing it on like stupid hard mode though, so I mean like at least made some sense.
And
it was extra hard on PC.
And he was doing well, so it was extra hard.
Extra, yeah.
Oh, and I didn't mention having it on 60 FPS and like updated on a modern PC made it so that Max didn't jump all the way. Like his height was severely shortened. It was like at least half.
Half?
Yeah. I was
so
wondering,
he was a true old man then. It made it more realistic.
Bro, I was like, why is my jump so low? Because I couldn't even jump over a couch at a certain point to like gun this dude down. And I was just like, why?
Because he's a 60-year-old man. He shouldn't be able to do that.
At number 3, me and my brother used to always make that joke. Like, he is so weirdly athletic.
Yeah, to be like 65. He's been getting shot his entire life.
Binging on painkillers and booze.
For like 30 of those years. Yeah, the game that pissed me off the most was Ninja Gaiden 2.
You know, I never played any of the ones after the first one.
Yeah, actually, that was the first time I threw a controller, like, as a not child, was that. Because it was so was the vanilla one, the one for 360, that only had, like, the 2 or 3 weapons, and, like, the later Ninja Gaidens were kind of made in a way that, like, certain weapons were just better on certain enemies, like, better, you can counterpick them, essentially.
I actually like that in design.
Yeah, I like that for, like, weapons, like, for enemies and stuff. So, like, you can either play what you want, like, you can get good with the weapon you want to get good with, or you have an option. They went real hard in one direction.
You know, here's a funny thing. All the Dark Souls and the Elden Rings, they all have that, the 3 weapon types. Strike, slash, pierce.
Blunt.
But, no one ever pays attention to that. They just choose the weapon that they like, and if it's not effective against the enemy, they just hit them more with it.
Get a stronger weapon.
You know, I've never counterpicked it. No, I have counterpicked a weapon in Elden Ring, but the only person I ever tried to counterpick in Elden Ring was Millennia.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the only thing I'll do in Dark Souls is if I feel like my weapon is too slow, I'll get a faster weapon. Yeah, I'll pick up a dex. I usually go a quality build anyway, so I can make that adjustment.
Guess we'll find out this summer when I actually start playing mine.
Oh, a game that pissed me off, truly pissed me off the most ever, was the first Darkest Dungeon. They have a messed up story around it. Alright. So the first time I played through the game was basically blind. This was the game when the game first came out. And if you didn't know what the boss you were going against did, you could just walk into a fight that you couldn't possibly win and that you couldn't escape from either. And that's what happened to me one time when I went up against this chick, this hag in the forest, who could summon a giant pot that had infinite health, basically. took up 2 spaces on the battlefield out of the 4, and she'd hide behind it. So if you didn't have people that could hit space 3 and 4 on the battlefield, she's just hiding behind that pot forever, and you're just gonna get seasoned to death because she throws food seasonings at you because she's a cannibal and she wants to eat you.
I think kind of figured out with the giant cauldron.
She also picks people up and dunks them into the cauldron, which starts to do damage over time to them, and they're just stuck in the cauldron, like trapped there until you can
they can't
knock
like
them out.
Move and jump.
Oh, they you can't even control them at that point. They're just in there getting cooked. So she killed my one dude who could hit space 3 or 4, and from then on she just threw seasonings at me until I died. And I was like, fuck this game. That was the first time I quit Darkest Dungeon 1, but not the last.
That's the first time I ever seen somebody get hit with the Zatarans.
Yeah, she just threw Zatarans at me, and I just eventually died. And it did chip damage. It was like 2 or 3 damage.
Yeah, man, it's just a fucking dry rub. It's not going to do nothing to you. That's just what you beat.
But this story has a sequel. Like, a few years later, I think it was like 1 year later, they come out with the first DLC for that game, the Crimson Courts. Basically vampires. But they did a really cool thing with it. Instead of vampire bats, they went with the idea of mosquitoes and vermin. Vermin vampires.
I like that.
So here's the deal. In the dungeons, you may randomly come across bloodsuckers. Bloodsuckers can infect you with the Crimson Curse, vampirism. When you get the vampirism, you take that shit back to your hamlet, and there's a chance that you may spread it to other people during the off times. Now, here's the thing, right? The thirst, the vampire curse, it gets worse on the person who's afflicted with it, and eventually they'll die from it. And it's the only way to stop it momentarily is to drink some of the special blood that you can find in the dungeons when you run into bloodsuckers. Here's the thing, though. This was the very first day that the DLC came out. That blood was extremely rare. No one could find any. Your dudes are getting sicker and sicker and spreading that shit to all the hamlet, and there's no blood to be found anywhere. Eventually, half of my hamlet had the blood herpes, and then they all died.
As they do.
Half of my people just died, just boom, obliterated, just decimated. 2 days later, Red Hook, the developers, they update the game with an emergency mission that allows you to farm blood so that your hamlet doesn't die, and they make the blood drops a lot more frequent elsewhere in the game.
It's an RNG drop?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was an RNG. And day 1, 2, and 3 that the DLC came out, people's hamlets were just decimated. And then it got fixed. But at that point, I was like, fuck this game. And I quit again.
Yeah, like, I'm a firm believer in, like, there shouldn't be a situation that you could get out of in a game.
No, man. Darkest Dungeon is all about that. Darkest Dungeon gets off on that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm good. Any game that's, like, built like that, I'm straight on.
Yes,
I'm good on.
It's alright. I'll get you guys to play it eventually.
The visuals are cool, and like the artwork is super dope on it. But like, I would never play a game like that.
Oh, to be honest, instead of Darkest Dungeon, I'd much rather have you guys play Fear and Hunger.
Yeah, I played enough of Fear and Hunger. That last time, that 20 minutes I played, I'm good on it. Yeah, that was enough for me.
Come on, man, that was just the opening cutscene.
Yeah, and I died before the game even started. That was enough for me. I'm good. I'm super good. I like the idea of it, and I like what it represents, like the utmost of what RPG Maker can do. And I'm super proud, like, inspired by it, but at the same time, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good on it.
It's one of those things I would enjoy more if I saw somebody who already knew how to play it run through it. Because I don't know. Because mistakes are good, but everything you do is a mistake essentially in this game. So I'm like, I'm not trying to spend my time doing that shit.
If it came out when we were in high school, I would probably play it. But like as an adult, this game is not for an adult with pressure and time restraints to play.
I wouldn't even play it in high school, to be honest.
Like, it only took like 7 or 8 deaths until you become the monster, right? It's like, it is so empowering.
Everything's a fight to the death, though.
Yeah, that is how I always wanted RPGs to play. Like Final Fantasy X, where everything was basically a fight to the death. That was my favorite battle.
Yeah, but
balancing.
I appreciate that when it's like there's still always a way out. In Fear and Hunger, you don't have a way out.
Oh, there's a way out. You just gotta find it. You have to find it.
That's what I mean. You have to find it. Like, in the entire universe of that game, you have to find it. And it won't be on that playthrough.
My problem with it is once you find that way out, you're still fucked. Like, the way out's designed to fuck you in another way.
It's not. You gotta play the game to make that call.
No, I've spoiled it. I've seen, like, how it works. I've seen how you get to, like, the different levels of the endings, and each time, it's like you crawl, you dig your way through, and then you get jobbed out at the very end of it. And then you do it again, you get jobbed out again. You do it again, you figure all that out, you get jobbed out again. You're putting, at this point, tens of, maybe even 100 or so hours into this.
I wouldn't have made that the first part. If I get into the game the first time and then, like, something like that happens, I'm good. I would have never gone back to it.
Like, bad endings? Yeah, this Fear and Hunger doesn't do good endings. It's a H.P. Lovecraftian story. It doesn't do happy endings.
Which I'm cool with. Like, I don't necessarily, games don't need to have a happy ending. I just need an ending for the characters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Fear and
Hunger. Like an overall ending, I guess, for, like, the world or whatever.
They do all have overall endings. All the characters' endings do happen in the first Fear and Hunger. You just need to piece together exactly how it's possible, but all the endings are canon.
Yeah. And see, like, that's one of those things I feel like, just in general in games, when you have something with multiple characters, like, I think that Sonic Adventure 2 did it best. Like, give me a last that, like, that finishes off all the stories and give all the endings, whatever. Like, I don't like, in general, like, if you have multiple characters and there's not, like, and every character has an ending, but it's not, like, an ending, like, engulfing everything. I'm just not a fan of that, because I'm like, you got multiple characters, like, tied together in a way that, like, you can present it instead of just, like, watching these 8, 9, 10, whatever individual stories. Like, give me something that encapsulate, like, the whole world, the whole story type deal. Because, I'm just not, if you're going to give me a story, give me a story. Like, the piece together story, like, I get it. Like, any piece of media, like, you piece together the story as you go out and but at a certain point, it's like, just give me the story. Like, at a certain point, just don't keep piecing shit together. Like, 3/4 or towards the end of the game or whatever. It's like, at that point, like, give me the story. Or just don't have a story there to begin with. Just let me be doing shit. Because if I'm still piecing stuff together, like, towards the end of the game, and I gotta guesstimate on what this ending is, and I don't get a final ending with, like, everything encapsulated, it's like, the fuck was the point?
I don't know. Like, the point of, like, getting to do shit. Like, for instance, Dark Souls, you pretty much just do shit. Like, my first playthrough Dark Souls was like, just doing shit. Yeah. And if I wanted to pay attention to the lore, I could do that too. Because everything you did also had ramifications to, like, the world at large. So I feel like that's the best of both worlds in that situation.
I'd rather either be there or not be there.
Dark Souls, it's kind of like impossible to piece anything together in the first playthrough. But on the second playthrough, when you finally, like, know all of these nouns that they're throwing at you, then you can actually start to understand the story. And it took heck, I still don't understand everything about Dark Souls 1. It's like, why did I get kidnapped by that raven at the beginning? It's like, wait a minute. Well, who's this goddess of sin that they never mention ever again?
Yeah. I think Dark Souls 1 was just like, stuff happens the game.
No, it's a point A to B scenario. It is really well thought out.
It's very, very well.
Strangely well thought out. But it does feel like that when you're playing. Like my first playthrough, I did feel like that. I'm like, all right, graveyard, giant crow, I'm a ball now.
Wait, what? Oh, right, yeah, I forgot. You know, egg role play.
Yeah,
kinky.
But everything has like even a giant crow was like an envoy of like the goddess of their version of the goddess of sin.
Yeah.
Goku. So everything literally has a reason for being there. And the way they position it too is like it's there for a fucking reason.
Alright, I'm probably gonna take the plunge this summer, so we'll see.
I like it. It's super, super duper complex, but it's complex in a way that really appeals to multiple playthrough players, where every time I play through Elden Ring, I realize new stuff that I didn't realize before. Like, even with all the lore masters who make those YouTube videos, which I have to admit, I do watch a lot of Elden Ring lore, even though
I feel you have to.
I really did want to figure it out myself, but there's no way we're going to figure that out.
Any Soulsborne game, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth trying to piece it together.
It's worth trying. It's an experience all on its own, trying to, understand the world, and it really tells you how to tell a story without telling a story.
I wish the triggers on some of the events were less obscure, less...
Yeah, that's true.
Less old school. I think that's the stuff they could clean up on, because some of the best stuff in Dark Souls 1, for instance, was like the character stuff. Like seeing how their stuff plays out. But sometimes like you have to do weird actions to progress the story.
Yeah.
That don't quite make sense.
All those characters died in my playthrough, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to try keeping you guys alive, because I don't even know why you appear or why you disappear. So I'm like, see ya. I didn't talk to anyone after Solaire.
Damn.
I mean,
it's Solaire's ending.
Learned your lesson and didn't want to get burnt again.
Man. Sometimes even like doing it to completion is even worse, because it's like, oh man, it's real sad.
Oh yeah, that was some delicious endings for those dudes. Whew.
Yeah, some of them is no bueno for sure.
No happiness. No cry.
But I mean, like, when you're like a melted skeleton walking through the world, I mean, do you really expect anyone else to have like a happy ending though? Or whatever the fuck you are in those games. Like the tarnished, the tainted,
you aren't wrong.
The verb.
Literally
or the noun, I should say. Just
about every Souls game.
You're some type of undead, nasty
being. Well, you gotta go do that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you gotta expect that everyone else is too.
Oh, the Tarnished is actually a person, though. Tarnished made it through pretty good compared to all those Hollow.
True that. Everybody still hate him, though.
Yeah.
Everybody want to kill you.
Yeah.
You said that. It just reminded me, Chris sent me a meme earlier, and it was like, imagine being like 18th century guy trying to talk to someone that's non-binary. And it was like, my lady. And I had such a uncontrollable laugh, because I just imagine some dude in like a bowler hat, just like, my lady, and then just going about.
I heard some ignorant shit this week, but that's ignorant. That's straight up ignorant.
It just tickled me in a way, bro. Like I couldn't explain,
though, right?
Then, so that was a Twitter post, and the response was, "I'd rather you call me a slur."
Damn.
Damn. I just cracked up so bad, dude.
The hilarious thing is I almost thought you just made up another pronoun there. Slur. Yeah. For a hot second. It took me a little while. In my head I was thinking SLER. I wasn't thinking SLUR. I was like, what's that new hotness? What's that a combination of?
Wow.
That tells you where we are in 2023.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes, okay. I'm sorry.
My lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Shoot, what was the topic? I forgot what we were even talking about.
Games that pissed you
Game
off.
just pisses off. I mean, we kind of went through that, though, for the most part.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can't think of any more.
Yeah, what about surprises? Like something that you thought you were going to hate going into it, but turned out to be like completely something you either fell in love with or something you just like, all right, you know, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
I feel like that's been happening.
Positive surprises?
Yeah, a positive surprise.
Yeah, that's happened quite a bit lately. I think God of War, when I finally got to play that.
I was about to say remake, but the 4.
Yeah, the Norse God of War. That was really good.
Because I was chirping in your ear about it.
Yeah. And it was great. It was fantastic. It was honestly fantastic. And it actually redeemed Kratos for me.
Yeah, that's pretty tough to do.
Yeah,
you had a big hate for Kratos for years.
Like, man, absolutely hated him. But the gameplay was on point. I had to play on like a harder difficulty because I was so used to like Souls at that point. I was like, I don't want no casual experience.
Yeah, I played it on the one right above hard.
Yeah. It was a good time, except for the witches.
Or right above normal, I should say.
Yeah. I played on whatever the mode where everything could one hit kill you. That was the mode I played it on. And it was a fun time. It was still fun.
Give me God of War?
It wasn't the highest one, but it was like the second highest one. Whichever one that one was.
Yeah, I think that's the same one I played on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a 1 point. You had like 2 points of health left afterward.
Exactly.
One time, yeah.
Basically, those armor knights could kill me in one.
Yeah.
Like everything I did.
Until like the very end of the game where I like min-max my stuff and I get like maybe 2 hits.
Yeah. If it was like two of them in that room, I was going down and like 2 hits for them, but 1 hit for the witch. The witch was always a 1-hit kill for me.
I think the witch might actually just be a 1-hit kill. Her scream thing or whatever, or that
the thing that chase you.
Yeah.
Because you can't even avoid that. Like, if you go to like higher ground, she'll still hit you with that.
I learned that the hard way. I was like, I'll just jump on this ledge. I'll be good. Yeah. It's like, nah, bro.
Yeah, because I was like legit figuring out ways to like job the enemies, and it just wasn't working with the witch. Just nothing I did. But it was a fantastic time. I heard the sequel isn't as good, but it's still pretty good.
I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
I think that's part of my summer playlist, but yeah.
I wish I could see my Steam list. I can't really think of anything, so I'm gonna go way back. The Dreamcast days. There's this game called Zombie Revenge. Have you guys ever play it?
Yeah.
I didn't expect a beat 'em up. And I sure as heck didn't expect a good beat 'em up. But Zombie Revenge was hot.
Yeah, I remember it was fun. It was cool. Like, I didn't have a Dreamcast, so I didn't play too much of it, but yeah.
It's really funny. It even had a story mode, and in the story mode, they were talking about it took me years to realize that story mode where they're talking about G and stuff, and like, wait a minute, this is a House of the Dead game? Yeah, it was a House of the Dead game. I've been playing that game for years, and I didn't realize it was a House of the Dead game until the advent of YouTube. And they're talking about surprisingly good Dreamcast games, and I see Zombie Revenge on there. I'm like, yeah, like this House of the Dead beat 'em up. And I'm like, wait a minute. What? House of the Dead? Why'd they change the name? Oh, don't know why, but they did. Great game. Surprisingly good.
Yeah, we talked about Muso games on the pre-show, and one that really took me by surprise, and actually makes me want to play other Muso games because Alex told me they actually got better over time, is I got to play Fist of the North Star Muso game, Ken's Rage. The first one and the second one. First one more so because it had a jump button. The second one didn't have a jump button.
Wow, jumping.
That's buttons are important.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
But the first one, it told... The reason I like these games is because they told the story of the show in a very condensed manner, and it made me want to watch the show again. Like, it was that good.
I feel like any type of tie-in media should do that. If it's done well, it should do that. It should make you want to go absorb the original source material, for sure.
And that did. That had all the major beats of the show. And they also had, like, dream scenarios, too. So, like, if a character died in the show, which Just for some you could do like a what if they survived scenario. And those are pretty cool too.
That's cool because I like that stuff from Budokai 3 too, where you can have like the what if storylines and find everybody. So that is always cool to have in the game.
Oh, that's cool.
You got their official storyline, and then like what if all this weird shit happens? Like
I love those in Budokai. But
I like that in Resident Evil 2 remake with the sheriff. I just like the idea, like what if the sheriff didn't get bodied by the very first zombie you come across? It's like hell of a sheriff, man. He could have been a survivor.
Damage.
He had just paid a little bit of attention.
That or the mayor's daughter?
Mayor's daughter.
She survived in it. But yeah, I'm actually gonna get at some point the Berserk Tecmo Koei Buso game because I'm thinking it's gonna be the same quality as that Fist of the North Star game.
Got one?
Yeah, my most recent one is probably Legends Arceus.
Yeah,
because it was a Pokemon game, and I was more or less expecting it to be Pokemon, and I just have a bad track record with Pokemon where I just have to buy the games regardless anyway. But I was really surprised. The game was amazing. Like I actually enjoyed and started to fall in love with the franchise again. So I mean, it was just a fresh take on something different. Yeah. Fresh take on something that like has been beaten to death and like just hasn't really done anything great.
It was a brave new evolution for an old formula.
Yeah.
Now, I pray that they do it again. Make a sequel to that game. Please. Please, stop looking at me like that, Mark. Tears of the Kingdom was a one-time thing.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sell as much as Sword and Shield.
Alright, so, it's funny you should mention Rage, and then it's funny you mentioned Berserk. Because another game
I thought you was going to say Rage
that was surprisingly good that I really liked was Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage for the Dreamcast.
That was a good one.
That game was
I never played that one. I heard about it. I never played that one though.
Like, it was just like a really, really good action game. It was like, honestly, it felt a lot like Lost Kingdoms, except you are, you actually are a swordsman, so you can't run out of sword ammo. And when I first played the game, I rented it from Blockbuster, and I had never heard of Berserk. In fact, it wouldn't be until years later that I eventually put together, when I did actually start reading Berserk, like, wait a minute, Sword of the Berserk Guts? Was that the same guy? I remember I was playing as some guy with a big sword who only had one arm. Wait, this was based off of that? But funny story about that game. I played it through and I beat it and I loved it. And then it was hard as hell. Hard as balls.
I can imagine.
And then when I started to play through it again, I accidentally pressed right trigger and a whole new menu came up in the game. And I found out that you had healing items. You had a crossbow. You had like bombs and shit. And I'm like, wait a minute. Because, no.
I mean, I'm not judging you because I did the same thing on Kingdom Hearts.
It was a rented game, so it didn't have an instruction manual. So there was no way for me to know.
Well, the kids today won't know about that. They don't have those anymore.
Yeah. And it was like, whoa, dude, there was like a whole nother side of this game. I'd been playing through Devil May Cry with 0 healing items. I beat that game without healing, dude.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's very impressive. Stupid, but impressive.
Anyway, it was an excellent game. That is like a game that is ripe for a remake, but, it was based off a licensed property, and I certainly didn't expect it to be good, so it's unlikely. Well, impossible, basically. Oh.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It'd be like that sometimes. Another one was, oh shit, what was it? I just played it recently. Shit, I forgot. Oh well.
Yep. Oh, there you go. Oh wait, was it Remember Me?
That was a surprise hit for me. God, that game was so good. It was very European with the storytelling. Like it, you know, it was like this is not what I'm used to in American games. There's something a little bit different about it. But dude, the fighting was just superb.
I like the art style. I like the visual effects that they did in that game.
Yeah. I tend to like female main characters in action games too, because they tend to take more risk with like movements and stuff. Because like you got to do like you have to have like these super angled swings or whatever, but like
can't just have him doing the splits.
Yeah, and it's like with
no pirouettes.
Yeah, and it's like just that extra twirl and stuff or whatever. It's like super dope because like me and my boy were noticing like when we watched the first Into the Spider-Verse. The first Into the Spider-Verse, and noticing how like they all have like different combat styles. But Spider-Grim's was dope because all of her stuff was like ballerina based. So she was just like twirling, beating the shit out of people. But it's like just those extra little flares and curved movements and stuff.
I will say Spider-Man is pretty unique in fighters.
Yeah.
Spider-Man fights like Spider-Man, and no one else ever. Even now. Like, no one...
No, because Spider-Man fights in 3D, like, actual 3D. Like, everyone else fights in this 3D in the sense that, like, we are in the 3D world, but Spider-Man literally fights in 3D.
I like how his legs could be, like, over his head, but he's doing, like, a downwards uppercut. Like, it's weird, but it works for Spider-Man.
Only Spider-Man.
Only Spider-Man.
Only Spider-Man.
Because, I mean, no one else, I guess, has the strength with the agility in the small frame.
When I was a kid, I didn't know Spider-Man had super strength. I was just like, oh, he's a smaller guy doing these quick attacks.
I didn't know that. I don't think I realized that either.
He doesn't rely on it unless like it calls for it.
Yeah,
like,
unless he's stunned.
I think that's the thing too. Yeah, because he holds back when he punches people, but then he like lifts the building.
Yeah.
Because I guess when you're a kid, when you think about it, because like at the time, like super popular, the only other comparison you have is like Batman, who you know is human, and you got Superman, who's like Superman. So it's like these are like the three. Yeah, those are like the three biggest shows from like when we were kids. So it's just like X-Men, which they're just all over the place. Yeah. But like with Superman, it's like he's always doing super stuff. Yeah. But it's like Spider-Man, you get this weird middle ground where he's like normal, everyday, punching people on the streets, and then he's like swinging off buildings.
I think the version we got, he didn't do too much super strength stuff. I think that's where my confusion was at, because he never really like
no crazy
picked
feats,
up cars or nothing like that.
Like,
he would just like
sometimes
punch Rhino or something.
He wouldn't rely on it to fight. You know, sometimes I've seen Spider-Man just lift a crane, a construction crane. Well, only if he needed to.
Yeah. You know? But I feel like that started being a thing once the movie came out. Then it was like showing off more of his powers.
True. Like when he stopped that train. That's like the only thing I can think of.
I think that was the biggest feat I've seen of Superman. I mean, from Spider-Man at that point.
And he almost died from that.
He did. Yeah. And after a while, they started letting him pick up big shit in the video games too. It was like, okay. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing you could pick up in the old beat-em-ups was like a person.
Yeah.
That was it.
I mean, you do gotta be pretty strong to do that. I can't do that.
I think they got their way around it by like having you be able to web throw stuff. So like you can web a car and throw it at somebody because like the momentum, you can swing that around. So they're able to get there.
So no, it made sense after a while. When I was a kid, I was like, when he started doing super strength stuff, I was like, hold on, what? Spider-Man got... And somebody was like, yeah, he has the strength of a spider 10 times a human's...
It was like 50.
Because ants 10 times.
Ants.
Yeah, so spiders got to be something stupid. Well, ants can lift 10 times their body weight, I should say. Or 100 times their body weight.
Are ants 20?
I don't know anymore.
Maybe one of them's 20. I think Spider-Man can lift 20 times his body weight.
I just saw Ant-Man. I think Ant is 10. Or is it 50?
I don't know.
Dang.
Ant's strong as fuck.
Yeah, I think it's 20. 20 is the number that keeps popping into my head.
I did just see the first Ant-Man, by the way.
It's pretty good.
It was a fun movie.
Yeah, it was a fun movie. Yeah.
I like more of those Marvel movies where like they're isolated and then they add to the story at the end, or like it's like a one piece.
Started doing that more. DC's I think started moving that way, where they were anyway. But I watched Ant-Man's last. I wish I watched them when they came out because they were surprising. They actually ended up being some of my favorites.
I really liked the original Ant-Man, and I was like hard going against that. Like,
I know.
This is dumb.
I know.
This is dumb. Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I was surprised with Guardians of the Galaxy. And Ant-Man was very fun. I like the supporting characters in the first Ant-Man.
The Hispanic dude is my favorite.
Dude, man.
I love him.
Did you expect him to just throw fists like that? Captain America? Hold up. Like, dude, I was sitting there and he got called by the guy. And I just like, at that time, I just like sort of turned around for something at the time. And I turned back and dude is laid out on the floor. And I just hear a punching sound effect. And I'm like, whoa, did Lewis just lay him out? And then some shit happened later and Lewis laid out another dude. And then like another dude. I'm like, whoa, dude. Punching is his superpower.
Hey man, whatever to say to homies, bro. I mean, it was all kind of criminals. So I mean, like, it makes sense.
I mean, like, even T.I. was smooth. You know, it was like, he had the quick thinking. It was.
I love seeing T.I. and stuff because it's so wrong.
Yeah.
Why you gotta talk about man's Clifford like that?
Like Clifford Harris, man.
Man, so I'm trying to, just beefing with Markiplier, now you beefing with Clifford. Yo,
man, I'm just saying, man. It was just seeing him in Ant-Man was weird. Like, when you see him in something like ATL, where it's like, all right, yeah, he should be in this hood shit. But I'm like, when you see him in like actual movies, like, it's like you forget he's T.I. for a minute.
Yeah, he's a multimedia personality at this point.
Yeah.
I do gotta say, I felt a little uncomfortable with the fact that, the criminal element in the Ant-Man movie was a bunch of, racial minorities led by some white dude.
Yikes.
It felt a little bit like, I was like, at first I didn't have any faith. And I was like, wow. But then when they actually started doing shit, it was like, oh, actually all these dudes are really hot. And Lewis started laying people out and he just good natured about it. I'm like, dude, what can you do about a guy who could just like break your jaw and make you laugh about it later?
Just eat it and laugh about it, I guess.
Like, dang, man, I wouldn't even feel bad laying out, man. Like, I know that Lewis would, like, feel bad about that. It was like, man, I'm sorry I had to do that, dude. The world's, and it was like, all right, Lewis, if it's you.
It's cool, man. I'll just deal with the black eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard they didn't bring the homies into Quantumania.
They didn't.
No, I haven't seen anything. After Endgame, I haven't watched anything.
Yeah, it's kind of been, people kind of complained about this what they call it, wave or
Wave
phase
5,
4?
Phase 5.
Yeah, phase 4.
Although, I do have to say, Kang was that deal in Quantumania.
He's deleted, though, so.
What do you mean deleted?
Because Jason Mathers. His domestic violence stuff. Yeah, he ain't Kang no more.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the whole
Kang ain't Kang no more. So it's gonna be a new Kang in Loki season 2. So whoever's playing Kang,
big shoes.
I guess I haven't seen anything with him in it. So I mean, but like now I don't care. Like I care less now because it's like the actor swapping. I mean, I already didn't care because I'm like kind of over the whole.
Yeah.
Like Endgame should just ended it. Like
yeah.
I like that they use this time to like experiment with stuff, and it has been hit or miss. To be perfectly honest, I think really the weakest part about Marvel these days is their formula is actually pretty expired at this point. They need to.
It's boring.
Yeah, you need to open it up, change it up, really, really lean into the original, the content itself, because they take the content and they make it more palatable for like a movie audience.
Yeah. Because
they have the same things they stick to. They stick to like, overwhelming amounts of comedy. By the end of it, I think really if you guys have noticed, like if you start watching this phase, what they'll do is they'll replace the main person with a new person to kind of like take the mantle. They did this in like Doctor Strange. Like it was Doctor Strange, but then they introduced like America Chavez, who became kind of the star of the movie after a while. Same thing they did in Black Widow. It was Black Widow, then it was like her little sister, took over. Same thing with Hawkeye. It was Hawkeye. Now it's his daughter. Same thing Ant-Man. It was Ant-Man. Now it's Ant-Man's daughter. So that was like...
They're preparing for a big-ass spin-off spring?
Yeah, I think that's what they're preparing for. So it's... Yeah. I think the ones I've liked were like... I actually did like Doctor Strange, but it was a hot mess.
Oh, I didn't
watch it. Like, I didn't see anything, but yeah, I heard that it was like hit or miss. Like
the Sam Raimi
hit
stuff.
and miss at the same time. It was good at the parts that it was really good, and then like at the very end, it was just dumb, just like friggin' Mrs. Doubtfire dumb.
Yeah,
I can't describe it.
R.I.P. the GOAT.
The best stuff was like the Sam Raimi stuff, because like it kind of became like a horror movie after a while, and that stuff was pretty good. And then it became a superhero movie again, and that stuff was kind of dumb. So
yeah. So my boy Brian, he had, when we watched Spider-Man No Way Home, his biggest beef with that movie was Aunt May. Oh. Because he was like, Aunt May dying didn't make sense. He was like, why, when he had all the criminals in his apartment, why would he have Aunt May go anywhere else besides that super sheltered apartment? But he told her to like go grab something, and she was in the alley
box.
Yeah, and the entrance to the not the hotel, but the apartment building. And like as I rewatched the movie, it never makes sense why Aunt May isn't with him. It never makes sense. It was literally just like it was obviously a story contrived moment to get her out of that room to get her killed.
I mean, she was getting his ass beat though. Like Green Goblin, like literally powerbombed him through the floor. It kept beating his ass.
But she would have still been in that room. She would have never been downstairs.
She went like looking for him, right?
No, she left out before then. Before he was there. She left out before the fight was there. Happy, she was by herself because Happy was up there. Tom was up there. Tom Holland was up there. And all the villains were up there. So why was she there?
Wait, no. It does make sense because like everybody started freaking out after a while. Everybody was in an apartment. Then everybody like started freaking out because Goblin was freaking out. Then Jamie Foxx got the fuck out of there. And then, like, you didn't know what was going on because Lizard was just doing random shit.
So you're in a secure apartment building. Like, there's the villain in there. But you think the best option is to send your aunt out of that room?
It wasn't secure, though, because everybody, like, what's name broke out of a window, right? Then Electro turned off the power. And then, how did Peter get out? Did he get, like, drop kicked out of a window or something?
Yeah, he got drop kicked.
He got drop kicked out of a window. I guess you can stay there, but like, there's nothing stopping them because they already know you're there. There's nothing stopping.
I can't remember because it's been a while. But rewatch that part, and it doesn't make sense. Like I can't remember the exact specifics of it now, but like her being in the entryway to the apartment building doesn't make sense. It's like the biggest flaw in the movie. So just rewatch it when you get a chance.
I'm just saying, it's hard to strategize when you're being drop kicked. It makes the thinking difficult.
Did you see Green Goblin just powerbomb this man through the floor? And
I did see the power bombs. Those are pretty good.
Peter's on his head, punch him in the head. This man was just looking at him, laughing like him.
Yeah. So I was talking to my my boy. He was telling me about an interview beforehand. I guess when they called William Dafoe, he was like, "I will only do it if I can just be completely batshit crazy."
Oh yeah, he did. He made the movie. The movie would not have been half as good if Dafoe would.
Because you never knew at any point.
Yeah.
Like
there was this weird uncanny valley thing going on where Willem Dafoe's performance was too good compared to the wooden performances of like, was it Clayface? Clayman?
Yeah, I found out that
Sandman.
He wasn't in the movie. That was all like redone CG from like the old movies.
Oh yeah, that was not a person.
Because he was always sand.
You saw that face, just that hammer face. Willem Dafoe was too good, and everyone else was a little bit. The other villains, I mean,
Mulaney was good. I like Doc Ock being there.
He was good. Really good. He was good. But I like Jamie Foxx.
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx.
He just played Jamie Foxx.
He was just Jamie Foxx. Yeah. And Sandman was alright. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't get
Lizard was kind of just there too.
But
that, when you see that Defoe performance, it makes you really go over like the Marvel villains, and it's just like, y'all been slipping, bro. Because I've never been as uncomfortable and terrified as when Green Goblin was on screen.
Yeah, Green Goblin and Thanos were the only ones that gave me that.
Kang, Quantumania Kang, he was honestly terrifying. It was like, he did a really good job of showing power. Just overwhelming. You know the term, any sufficiently advanced technology is, you can't tell it from magic. Kang's technology was so powerful that you would be sitting there going like, that's gotta be magic, right? But like, no, man, he just got technology that makes you think like, holy crap, he's like Thanos.
Yeah, because I mean, Kang exists at all times at once, right? Or some weird shit like that.
He got a lot of variants. He's like one guy, but he has knowledge of like all his variants.
Okay. It was some time shenanigans.
In the comics, he's like, I think he's Reed Richards' dad, but I think he's also somehow Reed Richards.
Like Reed Richards is a variant of Kang?
No, Kang is a variant of Reed Richards. But he's his own dad. Or something like that. Something
that sounds comic book stupid enough.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, we're gonna watch Back to the Future Part 2 anytime soon. No particular reason. Just wondering.
Yeah, we should probably get to that. Probably next week. We'll call it next week.
Yeah, we can watch both of them next week.
And just run through it?
Yeah. Then we will have that review for you guys sometime next month.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Should be next month because we got the fog this month, and then, yeah, that should be next month.
But anyway, as for always, thanks for coming along the ride. And keep helping us creep up to 1K. We're getting there slowly but surely. Appreciate you guys. So, we'll see you next time. May your pillow stay cold and your bed stay warm.
Stay perfect, chat.
Peace.